I like that line. That's a good line. That's why you keep on writing. That's why you keep on poking and pushing and pulling. Let's go. I like that line. These little fruit chews, low-key fire. I don't remember having the vanilla one, but I think it's gonna be good. Candy endorsement 2020. I'm being modest. 2020. Candy endorsement 2025. Yeah. 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 Tastes like nutriment. And nutriment top 5. You know what I'm saying? Top 5 what? It doesn't matter. Nutriments not good. The vanilla nutriment? Crazy. Update. Added a few lines. I said every class that had a pair of pliers, patient enough to pull and tug at my fear, to go to war with my worries instead of my words. They never felt the need to fight fire. They never need to felt the need to fight with fire or with force. I don't know if I'm gonna keep all of that, but like, because I also like the idea is like, oh, patient enough to pull and tug at my fear until a little bit of water leaked in to wet my feet, and then they could start to teach. I like that. I like the imagery of it, I guess, like pulling and tugging at the fear until there's a little crack, until there's a little space or gap for water. You know, water, it don't take much for water to get into anything, so it's like pulling enough of my fear out the way, shaking it loose, pulling and tugging at it until just a little bit of water come in, and thinking about where I'm standing at the pool area, where it's like the pool, the tile on the ground where you can feel the water kind of just go underneath your feet and just wet your feet, like type of thing. And then the idea of like, oh, you know, let me wet my feet, get started type of thing, and that kind of double-sidedness or whatever. So I want to add that in there, but I can't have that in there if I say to go to war with my worries instead of my words, which I also like that too. But then I don't, the poem, the part, sometimes I do this where I go down this path and then recognize that this has nothing to do with my overall theme. Like, this is not about my teachers. Now I'm speaking too highly of them, even though I do think highly of them, but it's like I can't speak so highly of them and then pivot to how it didn't work. Like, that doesn't make sense for me to be like, not really. Like, I guess I could do that to like build them up and then really slash it down and be like, yeah, but it didn't work. But I don't want to go so deep into this, like how great of teachers they were or the mentality, for it to not be about their mentality towards me, but to be about my mentality towards swimming, you know? So I don't want to go too deep down the path, and I feel like those lines to go to war with my worries instead of my words, and they never felt the need to fight with fire or with force. I feel like that's leading me down this way, and I'm trying to go this way, you know? So I'm trying to find the middle to just, you know, go that way, you know? What else did I do? Oh, I would say how I would tell them, how could I relax when I was in water? How could I put my life in the hands of this body? Instead of saying this body of water, it's like, all right, let me just leave it to this body. How can I put my life in the hands of this body when it can never hold me steady? When there's nothing to hold on to when I start to sink? When it can push me deeper the more I start to think? I love that. I think that's making the cut, y'all. I'm not gonna go. mm. Mm. Hold on, I got something for you. So, I like that because given the water, this personification of its hands and it's like the body of water. How can I put my life in its hands when it can never hold me steady? I could never stay afloat. And I feel like that's the best word I could use right now, but without saying I can never stay afloat. You know? When there's nothing to hold on to when I start to sink. So when you're really trying to, you can always have the edge of the pool, but like, that's not really, you can't swim like that. So like, even going into like, how could I put my life in his hands? Like, there was nothing to hold on to when I start to think. Like, you can't, when I start to sink, like, I can't hold water's hand and be like, let me, you know, how could I put my life in the hands of this body which can never hold me steady? It's like, it couldn't hold me steady, and its hands are not steady in itself. Our water's just always just moving, just constant, that just flowing. Like, even when it's never completely still, like, it's always moving. It's that, and I feel like it's similar to my hands are always moving. Like, I'm always shaking this, and that's another. I can't add. It would be cool to make that correlation, but like, that has nothing to do with, you know, anything. So, but my hands do be shaking all the time. I never went to the doctor for it. Yeah. But I like the idea of, sorry, it's like a freaking the virus protector just popped up. The heck? Get out of here. Crazy. How could I put my life in the hands of this body? Oh my gosh. I did not ask for your security right now. How could I put my life in the hands of this body when it can never hold me steady? When there was nothing to hold on to when I start to sink. When it can push me deeper the more I start to think. I feel like that line described, you know what I was talking about earlier about how I like that if you tense up you'll fall, if you let go you'll float. That line kind of like pre-described me saying when it could push me deeper the more I start to think. That line described if you tense up you'll fall, if you let go you'll float in one line, like, you know. And now I'm keeping both of them because really it's like the more you think is the more you tense up. You in your head, and that's when it's the water pushes you deeper because you tensed up. It's like it goes hand in hand. You know, you made yourself go deeper by thinking, but like that's my deal. I just hope that in this first half of the poem, I can get y'all to understand the level of fear and anxiety that I have about swimming, and then transfer that to the type of that type of fear of that unknown, the unknown of swimming, of being in water, and transferring that to this part of my life and career where it's like, yo, what am I doing? Where am I going? This is scary. I literally, and God being like, yo, if you tense up, you'll fail. If you let go, you'll float. Like, you'll be okay. And just even correlating that to like, yo, like, how do I let go? How can I put my life in the hands of this body when it can never hold me steady? When there's nothing to hold on to when I start to sink. Or started to sink. I think started might sound better here. When there was nothing to hold on to when I started to when there was nothing to hold on to when I started to sink. When it could push me deeper the more I started to think. They say if you tense up, you'll fall. If you let go, you'll float. They would say if you tense up, you'll fall. If you let go, you'll float. I promise I tried to let go. But how do you let go of death? I just thought that was just like a real cutting line where it's like, damn. Like, I feel like that's just me like trying to make you understand it's that deep to me. And this it was that deep. Like, I felt like I was going to die, even if it didn't seem like it. I thought I was going to die. If somebody wasn't there, if somebody wasn't right there with me, or even just the more that the deeper they brought me out into the water, or even just the thought of just being in the water on the other side, or being in water without holding on to the edges or whatever, it didn't matter who was around. I just like that panic that sets in when it's like, yo, I don't know what to do now. I'm drowning, I'm floating, like, ugh. Like, I hate that it does that to me, that I'm that fearful of it. And it's like, I really want to learn to swim, but I really want to learn how to, like, mentally let go of that fear of drowning, and to trust anybody who's teaching me. And sometimes the noise, my fear's noise, is louder than even though I feel like, oh yeah, I could trust you, or like, even though I really did. For them to get what they got out of me, I trusted them, because my own family, I love my family more than anything. Like, people in my family would always be like, oh yeah, I'll teach you how to swim, come on, just do this. And it's like, I didn't trust them in that sense. Like, I could trust you in a whole lot of things. I couldn't trust you when it came to water. I don't know if there's a way I could have that in the poem yet, but we'll see. I didn't think I could trust them. I couldn't, I didn't trust them when it comes to water. I didn't trust anybody. My mom, my sister, my girlfriend, my cousins, it don't matter who. So I let these professors, maybe because it's the structure, I had to show up. I had to get a grade, so it forced me to be there. But like, I tried. That was me being away from home. Me, like, nobody else was. It wasn't a big deal. I didn't announce it to everybody. I know I was telling my mom, but like, I was trying to open myself up to the process, to be open to the instruction. But like, even once I was confronted with the moment you're supposed to be trusting, I couldn't fully let go. Like, there was something I was still holding on to, that enough of that fear that kept me paralyzed. And I think that's the message of the poem, really. Like, that's gonna be one of the themes, one of the undercurrent messages of the poem, where it's like, yo, like, gotta let go. You gotta fully let go of that fear, or learn to do it scared. I've heard that a lot. Like, do it scared. Having that type of faith to be like, dang, like, I am scared, but like, you know what? I'm gonna fully just jump in. I'm gonna fully just be like, all right, you saying if I do this in this water, this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm not gonna drown. If I, fall, somebody's gonna pick me up, and I'm not gonna panic once I feel that feeling of drowning. Then that's where, the success is. But I can never get over that feeling of drowning, of like that panic of like, yo, this is it, like, everything's out of my control. I can feel the water getting into my ears, until like I start breathing, like, all those things start piling up, and it's like, ooh, like, I don't know. I hope this I hope I really get to like make it clear how this is not just for a poem. This is my life. This is how I really felt, You know, this is how I really feel. And it's like, even though this poem will come out before I learn how to swim, when I do learn how to swim, but there will not be a video for this poem until I learn how to swim, because that's what it's about. Like, me being able to dive or fall back first into the water, into the deep end, and not being like panicked about it, you know. And right now, be honest, I can't do that. Even if I finish this poem tomorrow, next week, next month, that's just not gonna happen in my estimation, in my plans. I don't know what will happen, who, whatever, but like, I want to learn how to swim. I will learn how to swim, and I will let go of my fears. I just say it until you rubber meets the road, and it's like, when I'm standing there in front of that water, it's easy when I'm on dry ground, but when you stand in front of that water and you gotta jump in, bro, it's different, you know. See, like how I'm sharing this now to you, it's like, dang, like, how do I put that into my poem? Like, I might have to go back to this film and take down notes of what I was just saying to like put as in the rest of the poem, because that's literally how I can feel. I can see the correlation between that fear of drowning and my fear of drowning, and the fear that we feel when God is pulling us deeper to unknown territories, when he's asking us to go somewhere that we're not supposed to go, not go somewhere that we don't know where we're going, when he's asking us to do something we've never done before, he's asking us to talk to somebody we haven't talked to before, or talk to somebody that we haven't talked to like that before, about a certain subject before, when he's asking us to, you know, be brave and do something without having the next step in line, or to deal with something happening to us without having another step in mind. You know, all these, I hope I can correlate the fear that I have of drowning and being like not being in control to that feeling of what God is like. Because I feel like in that moment when he asked me that, that's instantly what my mind was brought to. Like, what is it that you are willing to drown for, willing to put your fear aside for, in obedience to what I'm asking you, you know? What are you willing to put yourself on the edge of fear and faith in order to follow? I like that. I might have to write that down. Now that's just going in the file just somewhere. I don't know if that's so. That's. I'm excited. I really do want to capture my fear as accurately as possible. So when I do, because I know not everybody's afraid of water. I know even though people don't know how to swim, it's difference between not knowing how to swim and then being afraid to drown, you know. But I hope I can really, and I pray that God allows me to make that correlation clearly enough for you to feel that tension, that dynamic, you know, the way that I feel about drowning. There's something that you feel that same way about, you know. And what's funny is how I know I do this for God, or this is like, this flows out of my faith in my relationship with God, is that, or how I know God flows through me when I'm writing, and when I pray to write, I ask Him to flow through me. How I know that He does is when certain poems I write speak to me just as much as it speaks to somebody else, or even as I'm writing it, it's speaking to me. And even when I'm done writing it, I'm still reminded of certain things I write, or there are certain poems I've written, and certain poems I've written, certain lines in different poems that God will bring back to my memory, or bring back certain lines that literally speak to me and what I'm going through. And it's like, how you telling this person this, how you doing this poem for this person, but like, remember this line for yourself. Like, when I'm not performing, certain lines come back to me to like actually speak to me. So yeah, it happens all the time. What line comes back to me? Actually, right now, it came to me right now as I'm thinking of it, not like prior to, but like one of my poems, the checkup. Probably like, that's like it's not my first poem, but it's my first poem that I felt like a real poet and spoken word artist. It was the first poem where I was like, yo, it's the first poem that people really like, was like, yo, that's crazy. And it's the first poem, while I was writing it, I was like, yo, I can't believe I wrote that. I can't believe that came together like that. Like, I love it. That poem is my real baby, you know. Shout out to Checkup. I'll plug that right here. No, just kidding. There's a line where it's like, where I'm speaking as God to me, and it's like, don't turn me up, turn that down, quiet down, rest your mind, listen close, hear me now. And I think that line just came to my head because I'm in this phase and in this season of like, yo, I'm really trying to hear God clearer. I'm really trying to be more intentional with being silent, being still, in order to like hear what God is saying, what decisions that He's leading me to make, and who He's pointing me to talk to. All these type of things that people or other Christians or pastors will say, like, oh, God told me to do this, and it's like, I don't want to doubt them just because I'm not at that level of relationship with God. But I know, even being faced with it, even being like trying to face it and like grow in that area, I know there's a lot of things internally, a lot of noise in your head, a lot of noise in your head that can cause whatever you're being asked to be drowned out. So it kind of just blends in with whatever else, and you can just brush it off, where it's like, yeah, I should, go get that man over there, or go tell that guy over there a compliment about his jacket or whatever. And it's like, you hear it, but then it's like, nah, that's not that. Like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Or like, nah, that's just, oh yeah, that's a good jacket. You just say it in your head or whatever. And it doesn't, like, you don't follow through on it because there's so much other voices in your head. That sounds kind of crazy, but guess what? We all kind of crazy sometimes. So there's all kind of voices, all type of things pulling you in different ways, and it's not even all bad things. It's like, oh man, I gotta get gas right now. I can't afford to do that because I gotta gas. I get it back home. It's cold outside. It's this. It's that, and you don't. It before you know it, it doesn't happen type of thing. And so, that's kind of that's kind of the example that comes to mind when I'm doing when I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. That's the kind of example that comes to mind when speaking about that line. Don't turn me up, turn that down. Quiet down. Rest your mind. Listen close. Hear me now. And it's like, it's funny because as I'm literally trying to do that now, and it's like that same line is literally the path that I'm trying to take. Don't turn me up, turn that down, turn all that other stuff down, turn the game down, turn basketball down. Like, I hope you'll find out soon enough, but basketball is like, that's like my first love. But like, don't turn the game down, turn the sports down, turn everybody else's opinions and voices down, turn your all your other worries, the bills, the job, what car, what house, when you're gonna move, and this and all these things that could be just loud in our head. Like, turn all that down. Don't turn me up to be over them. Like, turn them down so that you can hear me, because I'm not changing my tone of voice. I'm whispering, and if you hear me, you hear me. If you don't, you gotta turn it down so you can. So it's like, don't turn me up, turn that down. Quiet down. Rest your mind. Listen close. Hear me now? I just think that's crazy. Even that was like, this is kind of more live. Like, as I said it, that was the verse that was the lines that came to my mind, and it's like, wow, that really is where I'm at right now. And that line really applies to what I'm trying to do right now. And it's like, wow, that's kind of cool, so I went off track there, but I hope that that helps somebody. Anyways, back to work. Alright, so I found a way to use both the tug at my fear until a little bit of water leaked in to wet my feet so that they could start to teach, and use go to war with my words instead of my words. I just flipped them. I guess sometimes it's not that deep. You just gotta switch spots, and it sounds a little bit better. So it sounds like, I remember how my feet would be glued, gum stuck to the edge of the pool. Every class they had a pair of pliers, patient enough to pull and tug at my fear until a little bit of water leaked in to wet my feet, and then they can start to teach. To go to war with my worries instead of my words. They never felt the need to fight with fire or with force. So now that I like to go to war with my words instead of my words, and now they never felt the need to fight with fire or with force. That's on the chopping block now. Put a little bit of space in between. That's kind of what I like to do on the file. Look. So like, say this is where to go to war my words instead of my words are. I'll just be like, alright, now that this is on the chopping block, I can't have them together. I need them to space out just in case I need to see what goes in here, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anyways, back to me. Whoa. Ugh. And then they can start to teach to go to war with my worries instead of my words. Okay, now I'm like, dang. Alright. Something about like this tug of war. I want to say something about tug of war, but it's like, I don't know. But I already say tug and I already say war, so it's like now those lines are at on the chopping block in a sense, but not really on the chopping block because I like those lines. So it's like really this idea of whether I want to say something about tug of war is on the chopping block. So let's say I say patient enough to poke and prod at my fear until a little water leaked into at my feet, and then they can start to teach. And then they can start to teach to go to war. Then they can start to teach. They never played tug of war. No, I don't know. To go to the war with my worries instead of my words. I never felt the need to fight fire force, concerning that they found its foe better. What is the opposite? I don't want to say considering they found. Need to fight with fire or with force. Funny, that would go against everything they stood for. They would never play tug of war with me because they never wanted me to let go of the rope. I like that. I like that. I don't know how that fits, but yeah, and we'll figure it out. They never played tug of war with me because they never wanted me to let go of the rope. I like that line. That's a good line. That's why you keep on writing. That's why you keep on poking and pushing and pulling. Let's go. I like that line. Dang. You know how I like it? I like it because it's like literal and figurative. Those are my favorite lines. Where it's like it's layered. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. It's like they never played tug of war with me because they never wanted me to let go of the rope. But it's because in tug of war, your goal is for them to let go of the rope. In this scenario, they don't play tug of war with me because they don't want me to let go. They don't want me to let go of the rope. They don't want me to give up. So they don't play tug of war with me. But then it's like, dang, is this conflict with the go to war with my worries instead of my words? I like that line. But if I go, they poked and prod until a little bit of water leaked into at my feet, and then they could start to teach. go to war with my worries instead of my wars. They never played tug of war. We never played tug of war because they never wanted me to let go of the rope. I don't know. They never played tug of war. They never wanted me to let go of the rope. They never felt the need to fight with fire, with force that would go against everything they stood for. Literally. See, and that's the thing. This thing is not that long. But the Andrew Davison one, the one I got pushed in, that's not a long section. So I can't have this one be short. I can't have the when I got pushed in part be short and the 2019 one be long. Because now then it makes it seem like the poem is about the 2019 one. Even though that it's probably a more clearer example, and I can give more details in that example to lead into the rest of the poem. But I don't want to spend way too much time filling up this side of the poem when I know there's still more message to be given and more correlation to be given, you know? That's my challenge right now. Yeah. I remember 2019, took a class to learn how to swim. See, a line like, I needed the class in order to graduate, but I hope this would be when I finally conquer my fear. That might have to go, just because I'm adding other stuff at the back end of this now. That's like, those feel more filler lines, and it's like, I don't need them no more. I remember in 2019, I took a class to learn how to swim. Okay, I guess I needed the class in order to graduate. I remember how my feet would be glued, gum stuck to the edge of the pool. Every class they had a pair of pliers. There it is. It all connects. It's all right there, right in front of me. I like it. I like it. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. Hold on. Listen this. Listen this. Listen this. I remember how my feet would be glued, gum stuck to the edge of the pool. Every class they had a pair of pliers, patient enough to pull and tug at my fear until a little bit of water leaked in to wet my feet, and then they can start to teach. To go to war with my worries instead of my words. They never felt the need to fight with fire or with force. They never played tug of war with me because they never wanted me to let go of the rope. That I have, well, technically on the file I have. They never felt the need to fight with fire with force or with force. Funny that would go against everything they stood for. Cause a swim teacher fighting with fire, like it's your swim teacher. You're in water. Funny that would go against everything they stood for. Like they, you can't fight fire with fire. You can't fight fire with fire. Especially as a swimming instructor, and you're literally standing in water. I just like that, the cleverness of that line, if you catch it, type of thing. But that line might have to go for this tug of war line. They never felt the need to fight with fire or with force. Funny that would go against everything they stood for. They never played tug of war with me because they never wanted me to let go of the rope. No. To go to war with my worries instead of my words. They never felt the need to fight with fire or with forced war. Or maybe we could flip it. So it's like, alright, patient enough to poke and prod out my fear until a little bit of water leaked in to wet my feet, and then they could start to teach. They never felt the need to fight fire. They never felt the need to fight with fire or with force. We never played tug of war. They never played tug of war with me because they never wanted me to let go of the rope. They went to war with my worries instead of my words. They would say, blah, blah, relax, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I like that. I don't know.